People have asked me if my big brother is supportive that I do sex work. At the end of the day, he's happy that I'm happy, but he benefits too. My brother is turning 23 next week. I balled out just a little. On a for real note, he's never really had super nice things, and it is so nice to get to ball out on my family for their birthdays and Christmas. All my homies eat.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will see how some women talk about leaving marriage. As a divorce recovery counselor for moms tells women to leave their marriage if they are married to a good man. We want to invite you to smash that like button. Let's support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you. Man, add your grain of sand to the movement. Leave your experience in the comments for any man who may need it. And without further introduction, let's begin.
No one talks about divorcing a good guy. I've been divorced twice, both of which were my decision, and neither one of them were abusing me or cheating on me. That doesn't mean there wasn't a pile of other reasons as to why we couldn't maintain a healthy relationship. You deserve to be happy. And I'm proud of you for taking responsibility for your happiness and doing something about it. So stop beating yourself up.
The reason why nobody's talking about divorcing the good guy is because they know how it makes them look, and they oftentimes live to regret it. And the bottom line is that it is extremely disappointing for men to hear stories like this, because it tells them that they could be an amazing man, but this is how they could still end up. The woman that they love and that they said vows to and that she said vows back to him could just decide she's not happy and she leaves him. Ladies, what so many men would love for you to understand is that they don't do that to you. Men do not leave good women simply because they aren't happy. Because most men understand that if they are not happy and yet they have a good woman, it is a him problem. A lot of women, unfortunately, do not think the same way when it comes to their own happiness, because they put it on the man to make them happy. These are women that will be in the cycle of finding a new man and being happy for a short amount of time, but then eventually, over time, they become unhappy because they're unhappy with themselves. So for you men listening, my biggest piece of advice is to make sure that you're with a woman that is naturally happy with herself. Trust me.
Gentlemen, if you see that she is a divorced woman with children, always analyze or ask why her marriage ended. If you hear that it was all the man's fault and she did nothing, that she left even though he was a good man, it means that this woman takes no responsibility in the relationship. This woman has destroyed the lives of two men who trusted her and gave her a ring. To me, this woman is a gold digger, clearly because she divorces them without any reason, but she won't walk away empty-handed. There are women who treat this like a sport, moving from marriage to take men's assets. That's why I support abolishing no-fault divorce, to end this mess where a woman marries you, leaves you without any reason, and still has rights to your assets. Because of things like this, I always tell men to have a prenup and never lose your personality for a woman. There are men who are truly fine alone, having fantastic lives that they leave behind to be with a woman who, after turning you into that good man, leaves you because she no longer feels those alpha emotions in you. But the next video explains it better than I can.
Remember this?
If your husband is a good guy, but you're ready for divorce, you're not a bad person.
She describes herself as a divorce recovery coach for moms, whatever that is. And understandably, she made that video because, well, she's trying to drum up business. And what better way to do so than by making moms feel good about leaving their husbands? And that's perfectly fine. But apparently she's not too happy with some of the responses she's getting from the husbands.
Men are losing their mind over a recent video that I made.
So a man taking a few moments to express his opinion on the matter is losing his mind?
Your spouse doesn't have to be abusive in order for your feelings of wanting to leave to be valid.
Actually, I don't have a problem with this. I actually agree with her. No one should be in a marriage that they are not happy in. But
there are dozens of reasons why marriages fall apart.
Okay, let's hear some of those reasons, but let's also keep in mind her business is a divorce recovery coach. So without a divorce happening, she can't make money.
Here are some examples. Financial problems.
Financial problems. Well, Pretty much every marriage experiences financial problems at some point. So the first step to do, file for divorce.
Growing apart, communication.
Both of those issues are common in every marriage at some point. Heck, in every relationship, no matter what kind it is, at some point. So the first solution, file for divorce.
Addiction, too much arguing.
Again, I agree. Those are valid reasons. However, shouldn't the first solution be trying to find a way to work through them?
Lack of emotional or physical intimacy.
Yes. Lack of physical intimacy. You know, the one where if he's not interested, it's his fault. And if she's not interested, it's also his fault.
One spouse just isn't carrying their weight in the marriage.
The infamous, he's not carrying his weight. He's a good guy, but he's just not doing enough. So, divorce him.
Maybe you married too young or for the wrong reasons.
Again, these could be valid reasons, but I ask you this. Shouldn't those have been obvious before you got married?
Those are all very common reasons for divorce, and it doesn't make you or your spouse a bad person.
Now, I hear you, and I might agree with you except for one thing. You see, if a man used any of those as a reason for walking away from his marriage, he would be immediately vilified and accused of abandoning his family. Now, let's be clear. I'm not trying to be mean to her or throw any ill will or shade at her. I just simply want to point out that she makes her living by coaching women who have been divorced. And we need to keep that in mind when she's encouraging said women to leave, by her own word, good men for what are problems that every marriage has at some point or another. And that is why men, well, to use her term, are losing their minds. Because men know that women, they're abandoning their marriages at the first sign of trouble rather than trying to work it out. So explain to me again why the hell men should get married anymore? Just saying.
The worst enemy of a woman is another woman. I once told you, happiness, like misery, is contagious. This woman is a broke single mother who wants to profit from her misery, which is why she holds that ridiculous title of advisor, one that she invented herself. It's just as he says, if there is no divorce, she doesn't make money. She's like a parasite that needs to make you sick to survive. That's why I say women are emotional beings. Emotional people tend to be susceptible to any influence. That's why emotional men tend to be weak. But here's what happens with women. If a woman is dissatisfied and is considering leaving her marriage for any foolish reason, and she listens to a video from another woman who reaffirms what she feels, she will act on emotion, regardless of what she destroys in her path. He is right that if men divorced for the reasons that women do, these men would be strongly attacked by the colorful hair movement. That's why I always tell men to be aware of who your girlfriend associates with and what content she consumes. If she is always surrounded by divorced women, whether they are mothers, sisters, aunts, cousins, or friends, it is very likely that your marriage will go through the same, because misery loves company.
No one talks about divorcing a good guy. I've been divorced twice, both of which were my decision, and neither one of them were abusing me or cheating on me. That doesn't mean there wasn't a pile of other reasons as to why we couldn't maintain a healthy relationship.
A pile of other reasons, meaning tell me you're toxic without telling me. Okay. But to also come online so proudly and so boldly as to think that you're not part of the problem while simultaneously proving that you are unable to maintain a healthy relationship, even as a coach, make that make sense. This is a perfect example of women that have zero self-awareness and are actually super selfish, because how do you come on the internet and basically admit to ruining two men's lives and you don't think you're part of the problem? And that's just two people that she married. So what about all of the men in between in her dating experiences? And what is she teaching women as a coach? I love how all of these professionals come online and think that they're like God's gift because they are coaches. But the reality is that they're taking their own personal experience and projecting that onto other people, especially women. And this is the number one reason why so many single women keep women single. And how diabolical and delulu do you have to be to come online and basically say that you ruined two men's lives and you don't think there's anything wrong with that? The same way that if women are on dating apps and a man says, oh, I've been married and divorced 2 or 3 times, you're going to immediately call him, a narcissist or toxic or delulu or all of the things. But women can come online and say whatever the hell they want, and it's perfectly normal and it's natural for her to just divorce people because she's bored and not feeling it. Let me guess. I'm sure that all men are toxic and all men are narcissists, and she's not the problem at all. Okay, bye.
She is definitely a narcissist. This woman has divorced twice simply in search of excitement, nothing more. It doesn't matter if she ruins her children's lives or if she ruins the man. She doesn't care about any of that because all that matters to her is her own happiness. That's why I always tell men that your best investment will always be in yourself, because a woman never thinks of you as family. She thinks of you as some kind of product to use as long as it's useful to her. The moment she has gained enough from you, she will leave you, no matter what you say. The worst part of all this is seeing women comment things like, "I left mine too. Even though he was a good father and provider, he wasn't a good husband," or women saying, "He gave me everything but I felt nothing for him." Others mocking that their ex-husband even cried for them to stay, but she wanted to leave. How do you tell a man to believe in love or marriage when you do everything right and in the end, they leave you just because you are a good man? That's why, gentlemen, uncertainty, anxiety, and instability will always be your best allies.
We talk about how hard it is to leave the good guy. When you say, I want a divorce, and he's like, no, I want to work this out. Everything's going to be fine.
Free that man so he can find his wife. I'm going to say it again. Free that good man, Savannah, so he can find his wife. Because if you're unhappy, chances are he's unhappy too. But he just doesn't know how to express it. And he doesn't want to get help clearly to change the dynamics of your relationship. And I understand that you're unhappy and your feelings are very much valid. I don't want to invalidate them. But just know that once this marriage is over with, you might not find anybody better. And that's okay. But you got to be prepared to not hold him to a high standard that nobody else can reach. And you also may need to fall in love with the idea of being alone for the rest of your days. Because you know how people say the grass ain't always greener on the other side? Well, I haven't seen too many green pastures that look appealing nowadays, okay? So you might have to fall in love with you and be okay with that for the rest of your life. But yeah, free you and free him so y'all can both be happy.
I like that expression, leave that man so he can find his wife. To every man going through a divorce, to every man who wants a relationship tomorrow, remember never to give up your life for a woman. What do I mean by this? If you were the type who used to go to the gym, liked to eat out at restaurants, bought elegant clothes, and hung out with friends for chats or barbecues, don't stop being that man for any woman. There are men who leave all their relationships for a woman, lose their shine, settle into a woman's mold, and when she leaves them or wants to leave them, they cling more to her because they have nothing, having abandoned everything for her. That is a mistake. If your woman says she wants to leave you, it's valid to say we can work it out. But if she says no, first find the best lawyer possible. Second, reconnect with your friends, work on your body, even if it hurts, everything gets better. It's tough, we all know it, but make her regret her decision. Tell her there's the door, go. No contact with her, become a better version of yourself. Let her suffer watching you be the best you can be. Trust me, you'll find something better. She will regret it, she'll come looking for you, and I assure you, you won't want her back because that's how wonderful karma is. Let it crash into the wall.
We talk about how hard it is to leave the good guy.
Why do women leave the good guy? Let's talk about it. I feel like I've been summoned here because this is what a lot of my content is about. I can't emphasize this enough. Just because somebody is a good person doesn't mean they are deserving of you. Being good does not equal compatibility. It does not equal good partnership. It just doesn't. There are good people walking around everywhere that are just not great for each other. So just because you're a good person and your spouse is a good person doesn't mean you're good for each other. You said something in your video that you downplayed that's actually a really big deal in relationships and marriages. You said he is only guilty of not putting in effort like he did in the beginning of our marriage and being lazy, just like every other marriage. No. After years of that, it will literally change how you see him. Doesn't matter if you're man or woman, whoever's doing it. It will change how you see your partner after years of that, because it just blindly tells you they do not understand you. This is why I tell people compatibility is so freaking important. So many people are getting divorces in their late 30s, 40s, 50s because they're realizing the people they married when they were young, they truly did not have a lot of compatibility with. That person doesn't know them. They don't know their triggers. They don't know their past. They don't even know how they like to have sex. So when you said he just doesn't understand you, you are right. You are not crazy. You're not crazy. So many people are manipulated into staying in marriages because the other person's a good person. Well, what good is that going to do if you stay in a marriage for years and years and years and years and years with someone who doesn't understand you, they don't know how to communicate with you, your sex is terrible, and you're just showing up because they're financially providing and they think that's enough? I'm telling you, when you find someone who loves your soul, someone who loves you not just to love you, but they love you because they understand you, they get you, and they love every part of you, it's different. I left a marriage that people from the outside looking in probably thought was a great marriage. You know, like he would bring flowers every week. He'd make me coffee. He was just an all around good guy. Yes, we had our problems individually and together, but he was a good guy. And everybody knew he was a good person because he is. And none of that mattered because our marriage was toxic. Our communication sucked. I over communicated. He under communicated really badly. We did not even like the same things, have the same enjoyments in life. Everything I loved, he actually hated. So I was married to a good guy who didn't even understand me and actually probably truly loved me for me. So you're not crazy for wanting to leave the good guy, because being a good guy does not equal being good together.
You know, once a female friend told me something, and I believe it 100%. She said, if you don't like a man in intimacy, he could give you the sun and the stars, and you still won't like that man no matter how well he treats you. We really see this with Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table but his seed. This man mistreats her, makes her live a tough life, in some cases cheats on or physically abuses her. He's a terrible man, but still, they are crazy about him because this man drives her wild in intimacy. Besides that, he gives her uncertainty, anxiety, and instability. He puts her on an emotional roller coaster, something women become addicted to. This woman talked about intimacy in her divorce because the guy treated her well, but she didn't like him in bed. The difference between men and women is that men have in their primal DNA the urge to solve problems. Women don't. A man can have a wife who is bad in bed, but still stays married, thinking he can fix that. A woman, as soon as there is a problem, doesn't want a solution. She wants out. That's why you hear the saying, she doesn't want you to solve her problems. She wants you to listen. So remember, don't put her on a pedestal. Don't lose your identity for a woman. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. Do you think no-fault divorce should be abolished? Why do you think women leave good guys? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.